Happy New Year, guys. Welcome back to the channel. We're kicking off 2022 with a brand new video. Today we are talking Xbox predictions. Let's get into it. Hey guys, it's been a while since my last video. I hope you've all been well. I wanted to kick off 2022 with some fun, really simple videos. Everyone loves predictions, so we're going to host a few here on the channel today. Today we're going to kick off with all things Xbox. I'm going to make 5 predictions. I'm going to give you my reasoning as to why I think they are realistic and might come to fruition this year. Let's get into it. For my first prediction, I want to try and map out 2022 and what it looks like for Xbox Game Studios, as well as the big exclusives and day one games coming to Xbox Game Pass. I think it's fair to say that the first half of 2022 is looking a bit on the light side. Not as light as 2021, I don't think, thankfully. We still have a couple of exciting games that have been confirmed for the first half. Notably, we have Crossfire X, the single-player campaign from the talented folks at Remedy, arriving in February. We also have Stalker 2, a partnered game from the folks at GSC Game World, arriving into Game Pass day one in April as well. I think other than that, we won't see many other exclusives come from Xbox Game Studios or any of their partners. We will get some small things here and there, and there will be, I think, some other big third-party games drop into Game Pass. Just very recently, we got the confirmation that Ubisoft's Rainbow Six Extraction will be a day one Game Pass title. So that's really exciting. I think you can probably expect MLB 2022 to repeat what they did last year, and that game to arrive into Game Pass on day one as well. Other than that, I'm not sure there'll be many other big day one titles. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Really exciting stuff. I think the only other wild card that we might see in the first half of 2021 is Grounded, which is obviously in early access or game preview on Xbox at the moment. The team at Obsidian has been slaving away at new content for that game, giving updates over the years. It was meant to get a V1 release in the summer, I think, of 2021, and seemingly been pushed back. I haven't kept up to date with its development, but I've got a feeling that we could probably expect it to arrive somewhere in half one, maybe in May. It seems to be pretty quiet around that time, so who knows, maybe we get a full release of version 1 of Grounded now that there's plenty of content and plenty of things to do in that game. One little nice surprise might be GoldenEye. There have been rumors that the remake or remaster of GoldenEye will be making its way to Xbox thanks to some the achievement list that leaked on True Achievements, so that seems to be a good indication that something is on the way. When it's happening, who knows, but safe to say that it will arrive on Xbox sometime in the near future if people are already playing it and earning those achievements. So that's probably something to look forward to as well. I think looking ahead to the second half of 2022, I think similar to 2021, Xbox is going to really hammer it home with big monthly beats of content for Game Pass and PC and console and cloud now as well, just like they did last year. So I'm expecting Redfall to land in the June to July window. I also expect that we might see As Dusk Falls, which is a game coming from Xbox Game Studios Publishing, a brand new studio. Interior Night is making that one. It got announced at the Xbox Game Showcase way back in 2020, and we haven't heard anything about it since then. I think it could fit nicely into that August window where similar games like it, like Tell Me Why, have landed in the past in that late summer window. That seems to be a good spot for games like that to avoid the rush of the fall, right? I think after that we could probably expect to see Forza Motorsport, the reboot from Turn 10 Studios. Obviously this is a game long in development, and while it doesn't have an official confirmation that's coming in 2022, I think most are expecting it to. The folks at Turn 10 haven't released a Forza Motorsport since Forza Motorsport 7 in 2017, so by that time it'll nearly have a 5-year development window. Obviously Forza Horizon 5 doing really well on Xbox and PC. I think Forza Motorsport it will hopefully do the same. Obviously it's a simulation game, so it won't be nearly as popular as its Horizon spin-off, but there's no doubt that it's probably going to be a very high quality title when it lands. Turn 10 rarely misses in that regard. Sprinkled among the latter half of 2022, I expect to see big updates from some live service games from Xbox Game Studios like Forza Horizon. We could probably expect the first big expansion to be revealed at E3 and then arrive a month or two later. Same thing for Sea of Thieves, just like they did the Pirates of the Caribbean update last year. I expect we'd probably get the same thing coming shortly after E3 as well in that window. Other than that, I think we'll also see a lot of big partnered games from third parties arrive into Game Pass as well. Things like Arc 2, which was announced at the Game Awards 2 years ago, starring none other than Vin Diesel. Studio Wildcard has been really quiet on that one. I think it's high time that we see an update update from them. I'm expecting that it rocks up at E3 and then arrives later on in the year, probably around in that October window, in a similar fashion to how Back 4 Blood got that same treatment as well, right? It came back at Xbox's E3 showcase. It was confirmed as a day one Game Pass title. I think we could probably see the same thing happening there. No question around what game arrives in November. It's going to be Starfield, and that's the one that'll be hogging the spotlight as well. Other than that, maybe we see some other big Game Pass day one titles from third-party publishers. That'll be a separate prediction. We'll get to that in just a moment. So yeah, that's my first prediction. I think Xbox is lining up a solid year, a bit quieter in the first half. Crossfire X, Stalker 2, maybe Grounded, GoldenEye, some big third-party games into Game Pass will be sprinkled in amongst there. And then the second half of 2022 is when we get, a whole raft of content for updates on their live service games. Big games like Redfall, As Dusk Falls, Forza Motorsport, and Starfield, and some other surprises sprinkled in there as well. Prediction number 2, speaking of those big third-party Game Pass surprises, I'm going to predict 3 of the following 6 games will be day one titles in Game Pass. Now, I'm not gonna lowball and go for easy, low-hanging fruit here. I think it's, probably likely that something like MLB rocks up into Game Pass again. I'm going to shoot for the stars with this one. So I'm going to name 6 titles. I think at least 3 of these make their way into Game Pass day one. I think there's no question that Xbox is going to get really aggressive in 2022 with deals like this and begin to ramp up. I think the service has, done a great job up until this point proving itself to third-party publishers, and I think this is when Xbox really starts to ramp things up and get really aggressive with acquisitions of content for Game Pass this year. So the 6 games I'd like to put forward, I think at least 3 of these drop into Game Pass day one. I'm saying Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora from Ubisoft, Saints Row, Homeworld 3, Company of Heroes 3, Gotham Knights, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, just on those middle 2 strategy games, it's pretty obvious that Xbox is making an aggressive push into the PC space and trying to acquire as many PC Game Pass subscribers as they can. They just recently rebranded the service PC Game Pass, and their tagline has been Game Pass has PC games. So I think they're going to get aggressive with more content like that, strategy games that really appeal to the PC demographic. I think you might even see them pick up some studios that really play to that space as well. We'll get to that in just a sec. As for Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, we've just seen Rainbow Six Extraction from Ubisoft be picked up as a day one game in Game Pass. We also got the confirmation that their subscription service, Ubisoft Plus, will be making its way to Xbox sometime in the near future. I think it's safe to say that that arrives on the console before the end of the year. I think Xbox is going to get aggressive and try and secure something big from Ubisoft that they can really use to bolster their holiday lineup towards the end of the year. And I think Avatar fits the bill perfectly. I think it's reasonable to assume as well that people will be skeptical on the quality of this game. Obviously, Ubisoft has made an Avatar game before, way back in the 360 and PS3 era, that didn't turn out quite as planned. It didn't review particularly well. So I think there's reason to be skeptical on how this one will play out, particularly if it's going to lean into any live service elements. I think Game Pass solves a huge problem for Ubisoft. They can get an upfront cash payment from Microsoft to secure that, cover the development costs of the game, and hopefully gain a lot of traction, get a lot of word of mouth for that game, just in the same way Back 4 Blood and Outriders were beneficiaries of that in Game Pass last year as well. So I think Avatar is just a really good fit for both Xbox and Ubisoft. Saints Row is in a similar boat. It's coming back off a downward trend going towards the end of the Xbox One and PS4 generation as well. So I think Deep Silver would be keen to try and guarantee as big an audience for this game as possible. And if the game is high quality and, gameplay footage recently points to it being at least solid, then I think the good word of mouth from a Game Pass would really help the sales of that game. So I think, again, Saints Row is just a perfect fit for Game Pass. Currently slated for August of this year, which tends to be a bit quieter as well. So I think they could really own that spotlight and help bolster the positioning of that game in the minds of hardcore gamers towards that period of the year. And the last 2 I predicted, Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad. I think Warner Brothers Interactive obviously have been through a bit of a tumultuous time. I think they're looking to guarantee the success in the gaming space as much as they can, and I think those 2 games fit the bill of what Microsoft want for Game Pass perfectly. Meaty, chunky, single player games that could really drive subscriptions. These are games that people are really excited for. The gameplay footage of Suicide Squad that was shown recently was really, really positive. I think people are really excited for this game, and I think they just fit into Game Pass really, really well. So those are the 6 games. I think at least 3 of them drop into Game Pass. Let's see if they come to fruition. Speaking of Warner Brothers Interactive, prediction number 3, acquisitions for Xbox. Obviously, they didn't make any huge plays in the acquisition space all throughout 2021. In fact, it was all these other companies like Sony and Tencent, Embracer Group, Epic making these big acquisitions, and Xbox, having kicked off this acquisition trend way back in 2018 with these big buys of Playground, Ninja Theory, Obsidian, In Exile, eventually Bethesda early in 2021 as well, really kicked it off. So they've been quiet. I think Satya and Phil have been very public in saying that they're not done, and I think we definitely see them pick up at least a couple of studios at big names in 2022 as well. I think it's safe to say that Xbox are going to try to make plays in this space that their competitors cannot, which is why I think of all the current publishers that are available in the market, I think Warner Brothers Interactive makes the most sense. Now, there are plenty of reasons why this won't happen. There have been, spokespeople say that, this is not the way that Warner Brothers is going. In fact, deals have already been made in that space, et cetera, et cetera. And while Xbox might have been in that conversation earlier on in the piece when, the future of Warner Brothers Interactive wasn't so certain, it seems to have died down now. I still think of all the publishers available in the market, they make the most sense for Xbox, which is why I think I'm just going to make this bold prediction and say that they're a publisher that Xbox picks up. I don't think it's going to be Sega or anything like that. I think Warner Brothers Interactive makes the most sense just because of the sheer talent there. And I think, if they combine that with day one Game Pass drops with things like Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, maybe even Lego Skywalker Saga as well, I think that as a one massive deal for Warner Brothers as a whole would make a whole lot of sense. Other than that, I think any other acquisitions for Xbox in 2022 will really be of the nature that they're trying to bolster their efforts within the PC side of things. So I think some notable candidates for acquisition for Xbox in 2022 will be the likes of 4A Games, the developers of Metro, Blackbird Interactive, who are currently working on Homeworld 3 that I mentioned earlier, and Paradox Interactive as well, who has a portfolio of valuable PC strong IP and development talent that they could Xbox could really leverage on the PC space as well. So I think we get a couple of those acquisitions. I think we get a couple of acquisitions in general from Xbox. I think those 4 candidates would be in the conversation already, and I think given Xbox's strategy at the moment, I think they make a lot of sense. So those are the 4 names I'm putting forward for acquisition in 2022. Prediction number 4, let's talk about games that are coming in 2023 that we will see updates for in 2022. I'm expecting gameplay from these games at E3, Gamescom, XO if that goes ahead, or the Game Awards. So the games that I think that are arriving in 2023 that'll be shown off this year include Avowed, Hellblade 2, Fable, Contraband, Pentiment, which is a rumored game from Josh Sawyer at Obsidian, Belfry, which is a rumored 2D side-scroller from Stoic Studio. These are the developers of the Banner Saga, which I love to death. The Banner Saga is a highly underappreciated series. Coalition's new game as well, and I think we get a peek at what Machine Games is working on. Rumors are that there's a Quake reboot coming with a female protagonist. This is something that was spoken about by Special Nick, over at Xbox Era, I believe last year. So I think they're the games that we see this year that are arriving in 2023. And prediction number 5 regarding Halo Infinite. I don't think that we get any major expansion for Halo Infinite in 2022. I think we will start to see some single player, DLC, small bite-sized bits of content scattered through the latter half of 2022, but I'm not expecting a 1 year later Destiny-like expansion. Rumors are that something called Halo the Endless, which is something that Xbox trademarked recently, will be that. I think that is at least 2 years away. I think they want to create something meaningful that people can take their time to get really excited about, and it will be a chunky single player expansion to Halo Infinite, not this year, I think potentially in 2023. So I don't think we get any major expansion for Halo Infinite this year. I think they focus on really bolstering the multiplayer and some other small bits and pieces of content for the single player side of things in 2022. Anyway, that's going to do it for my Xbox predictions, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I might be accurate? I would love to hear your thoughts. What is the release schedule for Xbox going to look like this year? What Game Pass day one drops are you expecting from third-party partners? And acquisitions, do you think we'll see Xbox acquire anyone in 2022? And who do you think that might be? Thank you for watching, guys. I'm going to post a PlayStation's predictions video soon as well, so please check that out. If you have enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. There'll be plenty more content on the way. It really helps out the channel, and I will see you next time.